So recently I was reading Ibn Ashur in Surah Al-Baqarah, translating it, in fact, translating the Quran according to his Tafsir. So I'm discovering a lot of really interesting things that he talks about. One of those, when he's talking about هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن سبع سماوات. There's a number of interesting things here, including he thinks the sab'a samawat are the 7 other planets in the solar system. But that's not what I'm going to talk about just now. It's the issue of Thumma. He created for you everything on earth. Then, Thumma is literally then. Thumma stawa ila sama. Translation is going to be something like then he gave attention to the heaven, to the sky, and formed it into 7 heavens or 7 skies. So Thumma, we would normally jump to thinking means that something came after, then, later. But Ibn Ashur points out that normally when one sentence is added by Thumma, we are not supposed to immediately think about chronology and time. We're supposed to think about how one thing is following from another in mention. It's called at-taraqi al-rutbi. So it's like moreover. Yeah, I think even Yusuf Ali's translation is like that. Moreover. What's more? The next thing that I'll mention, even more interesting, even more impressive, I'm going to tell you the next thing is even greater than what I just told you. That's the idea of Thumma, the concept of Thumma. But it can also be for sequence in time. It can be both together, right? So here he says, this is a crucial quote, if the skies were created after the earth, then the chronological sense is also intended. But if the heavens came first, then it is only rutbi, it's only order of mention, and this is more evident here. So you see, it's the scientific question, it's the question of the fact of the matter that is guiding his interpretation. That's not unusual, by the way. It's not like Ibn Ashur is the only one doing this. It's just only sensible that I'll read it in the way that makes best sense. How do I know what makes best sense? Lots of different things and factors, including what is known through science. He talks about how the Salaf differed over this, because there are some ayat which seem to indicate that the heavens came before the earth, and others indicate that the earth came before the heavens. Okay? So this one seems to indicate the earth came before the heavens. Then in Surah Al-Nazi'at, بناها أنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها رفع سمكها فسواها وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها والأرض بعد ذلك دحاها. And the earth after that, after the sky, well, I'm going to leave the haha. This is another one of these claims of scientific miracle that it means egg-shaped, and then he made it egg-shaped. Because the earth is supposedly egg-shaped according to scientific miracle industry, but it's not. Anyway, the haha, he then spread out the earth. So that ayah seems to be saying the opposite of what this ayah seems to be saying. So one of them has to yield to the other. Which one will we take as the basis? And which one will we do ta'wil of to kind of explain it in a different way? Ibn Ashur says, the stronger view is that the sky was created before the earth. Number one, because the expression وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا is more explicit in terms of order than this one is. Although he says, بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ can also be ta'wil. Don't worry, if we want to, we can ta'wil the other one. If we want to, we can ta'wil just about anything. So as a secret between me and you. If we want to ta'wil it, we can ta'wil it. It all depends on where there's a ta'wil, there's a way, right? Where there's a ta'wil, write that one down. So he says, بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ is more explicit than ثُمَّ. So that's one argument. Secondly, because astronomers believe that the earth split off from the sun like the other planets of our solar system. Now he's appealing to science. And then thirdly, he appeals to the Bible. The book of the Genesis also presents this apparent sequence. So none of these is an absolute knockdown argument. He just says this is arjah. This is stronger, this is the better view. Not that it is the absolute truth and the other thing is absolute falsehood. But you see how the science features in his decision about how to interpret. I want you just to remember my core point here is, it has to work this way around rather than that the text is given as the basis for a scientific interpretation, which is then confirmed by science. In a way, some of the ayat were quote-unquote confirmed by the science, and the other ones have to be ta'wil to fit the science. And that's okay, because that's completely normal, and that's what we do in Tafsir. It's completely normal. Don't get upset about that. He says the Quran has used non-committal phrasing, uslub al-ijmal, to make its point here, to sidestep the dispute between the two sides. That's how I see his point. Rather than getting into which one came first, that's really not important in terms of the revelation of the Quran, the purpose of the point that it's making. Maybe if the Quran had absolutely stated one, some people would have said, well, the Quran is wrong actually. It's scientifically inaccurate because actually, the earth was created first, right? So there would be, those were actually people. And if the Quran had said it the other way around, that there were actually people on the other side would have got upset. So the Quranic expression is open to both. It is non-committal. Because the Quran did not come to tell you which one came first. It is not the point. Remember about missing the point? But for scientific miracle industry, the Quran came to make these points.